Yeah, Shalom Israel. We're trying to come out week in, week out. Try and push this word, wake up the elect of our people. But before we start, we're going to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Kadash. Give double honors to the elders and apostles in Israel who will and teach well. We're asking for the highways and byways to those making videos and pushing this truth, this word in sincerity to the brothers and sisters in the truth. And what we have to realize is that everything that happens to us, get me on 1 Samuel 3, make this free. 1 Samuel 2, 6. What you have to realize is that everything that happens to us, it's the Most High who actually sanctions it. Everything that he does is actually good. Now, it might affect us in a manner which, you know, for us is bad. But everything that the Most High does is actually good, and we have to realize that and appreciate them. So yeah, read that 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 6. Because nothing happens without the Most High ordaining it. And when you realize that, it kind of makes things a bit easier to accept. You might wonder, why is making me go through this? But the long and short of it is, the Most High that's actually ordaining for you to go through that. And sometimes you go through trials and tribulation just to make you stronger so that you can help someone else. Not necessarily for you, but so that you can help someone else, man, who without your help might not make it through that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so read that.
It's the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 6. Yahweh killeth and maketh alive.
It says the Most High kills and he's the one that makes alive. So when anyone dies, regardless of how they die, you know, a little baby may die. So boy, he died too young. Well, the Most High ordained him to die at that age, or she to die at that age. Yeah, he's the one that kills and he's the one that makes alive. Because what are we seeking for? For later on in life, for the Most High to make us alive. You know, to raise us from the dead, like it says in Daniel 12 and 2. Yeah, read on. And the reason why a lot of people don't believe is because I keep saying it. A lot of people say they believe in a higher power, but their higher power is only capable of doing as much as their mind is able to perceive. And a lot of people perceive things which man is able to do. You know what I'm saying? You don't perceive the unthinkable, and our power is able to do the unthinkable. You know your history in the Bible? Can I come to me?
The saying is always going back to the shark. And what our people tend to do is that anything good that happens, then they want to acknowledge that it's the Heavenly Father that did it. But
well, if you don't.
Can't. But then anything that's they deem negative, or anything that goes against their positive, then it's not the Heavenly Father's will. Because like you say, what the people like to say is, let's just trust in God's timing.
That's right.
And then like you said, the Most High might put a baby to them 2 weeks after being, is that on the Most High's timing?
That's right.
But then
it's not your timing.
Exactly, but the people don't look at it in all fronts. They look at it when anything good happens, then it's the Most High.
Anything bad is of the devil, man. Yeah, we don't know.
Book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 6. Yahweh killeth.
Bible. My brother. You see the Bible?
Yahweh killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up.
You know you see the Bible, my brother? I'm talking, man. You go.
Verse 7.
Sis. Yeah, come talk to me. What you got me? Come talk to me.
The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. Verse 8. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill.
Yeah, so anything that actually happens, it's the Most High that ordains it, and this is what we have to realize. Sirach 10 and 2, no, 2 and 1 It says, when you come to serve the Lord, there is some temptation. It says, and constantly endure. So regardless of what you're going through, you have to constantly endure. Yeah, so read that again.
1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 8.
No. Read it again
From 6.
Yeah.
1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 6. Jehovah killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low.
So anyone that's actually poor or rich, it's the Most High that sanctioned these things. You know, like us being in the poor state that we're in, the Most High sanctioned it. You know, when you read the curses, it told you that, you know, break His commandments and you're going to be at the bottom of this pile. Keep them and you'll be above everybody else. Yeah, that's cool. So He's the one that made these things to happen.
Now maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. Verse 8. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill.
And that's what's going to happen in time to come. Yeah, we are those poor now. Quickly grab Isaiah. Isaiah 42 and 22, I believe.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 22 says, "But this is a people robbed and spoiled."
We are those people that's robbed and spoiled. We are the poor in this society.
But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth.
It says that we are snared in holes. Those holes that we're snared in is the blessings that Esau wants to allow our people to achieve. You know, being able to get that nice job, being able, you know, to get a certain amount of money, the nice car. So these things are a snare to our people at times, because now, where you've been put in this condition for punishment, all of a sudden you feel like, well, I'm doing all right. You know what I'm saying?
I could just say as well, a lot of those holes are holes that we dig ourselves as well. Because, you know, sometimes we know better, and, you know, we make a decision understanding that there was a wrong decision to make in the first place, not thinking of the outcome. So yeah, and a lot of those holes we dig ourselves too.
But you see what it is as well? Where Jake always in an oppressive state, anything that can kind of get them out of that oppressive state. Yeah. They you know, they're drawn towards that, and they're not really thinking like, why are we in this oppressive state in the first place? What you see in Psalms 83, they've taken crafty counsel. So while that crafty counsel is you being at the bottom, but them throwing you crumbs to make you feel like, well, you know what, you're doing all right now. Like I say, we're still slaves, but all Esau's done, you know them doggies where it can extend? He's extending the lead. So now you can go across the oceans, you know, you feel like man ain't slave anymore, but you're still a slave in the system, man. Yeah, so, yeah.
Verse 8.
Yeah.
On 8 about the dunghill.
Yeah.
This is book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 8. He raises up the poor out of the dust.
Yeah, and we are those poor. You know, like Lamentation 4:1, it says, how was the gold become dim? We are those poor now, and in time to come, to endure to the end, suffer the punishment that is put us through for our disobedience. Yeah, He's going to raise us up out of the dunghill, man.
He raiseth up the poor out of the dust and lift up the beggar from the dunghill.
Yeah, so this is the condition that the Most High is going to put us in, man, in time to come. It says, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. That we speak about prophecies. Yeah, brothers say, well, there's only a few main prophecies left, like the MOTB, Jacob's Trouble, World War III. But when you think about it,
Those are just the three big main ones, but there's many problems.
yeah, like flipping, these other nations bringing their forces up to us, to me that's a big prophecy, man. Yeah, us being changed from mortal to immortal. For me, that's bigger than all the other prophecies, because that's the end goal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, when you play the game, you go through the ups and the downs, but then when you reach the end, that is the actual main goal, man. So our main goal is one of the biggest prophecies to actually still come true. Us being changed from mortal to immortal. These other nations bringing everything they have to us. Like, the Most High is going to put us in that.
You know what it is again, I realise is that it's Jake concentrating on the negative.
No, you don't understand. I have to go outside.
Yeah, that's right. The positive, at the end of it, man, and those are just as big to me, man. If you think about it, how big is immortality to Jacob's trouble? Jacob's trouble, you can still get licked off. Immortality is like,
That's what salvation, isn't it?
Psalm 8:6, I said, the advancement.
It's just the order that we must go
Yes,
to accomplish that.
that's right, that's right. But yeah, there's still few prophecies left, man. These other nations coming to us, wanting to learn our laws, Micah 4 and 2. Yeah? These are other big prophecies, man.
Is that going to happen now, or is that going to happen when the new heaven and the new earth
Oh,
come?
them come to serve us?
Yeah.
In heaven, man.
When the new
In the
heaven.
kingdom.
In the kingdom, yeah.
Micah 4 and 2. I should get it in Isaiah. That would explain it a bit better. Isaiah 2, Isaiah 2.
The book of Isaiah chapter 2 verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountain,
That's the government of the Lord's house that we established over these other governments. Good.
and shall be exalted above the hills,
Right.
and all nations shall flow unto it.
It says all nations shall flow on this. Good.
It says, and many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the
Yeah,
Lord,
they're going to say, let's go to the government of the Lord. Good.
to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his path, for out of Zion shall go forth the law.
See, so that's in the kingdom. Out of Zion shall go forth the law. We're going to be teaching all these other nations the laws that's in us automatically. It's like the lesson I did today, I did a live today about marriageable age. And when you think about it, a lot of people get caught up on that marriageable age thing. But it's good to teach you that when a woman has a flower, that's marriageable age. But does that mean as soon as a young girl has a flower, you're going to be marrying her off? No. Like, when you look at history, it's like you got a son, I got a daughter. I'll come to you because it's the father that decides when your daughter's going to be married anyway. Yeah? And if someone actually took his daughter without his consent, he could come pay a dowry, which the father might accept depending on how this guy is, or he might reject it. All that's in the scriptures. So being you now, you might have a son, I have a daughter, I said, you know what, when they reach marriageable age, I want your son to marry my daughter. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean you ever ate some crap. You know what I'm saying? But that's what the scriptures teach. Flipping. Another thing is drive-by kidnapping. You know that's in the scriptures?
Well, the Irish kind of they don't exactly do that to the extent they used to, but you got a thing called the travellers thing called grabbing.
But tell me an incident in the scripture when it's drive-by kidnapping.
I think I want to come to
When Benjamin flipping raped off Levi's daughter and killed her, wife and killed her, he cut up into 12 pieces. Imagine 11 tribes went against Benjamin. Benjamin defeated them twice. Then the Most High allowed the 11 tribes to defeat Benjamin. But when you argue this again today, it's like there's no women. And the other tribe don't say, look, we're not going to make them marry none of our women. But there's no women in Benjamin. Yeah, so that tribe would have died off. What did they have to do? Wait for the daughters of Shiloh to come out dancing and grab themselves a wife.
And then I was just thinking of the spirit. Would you give your daughter to a so-called Benjamite?
You know what I'm saying? I'm Benjamin, you know?
I know, but when I say that, I'm going to
I know.
over there in the, still in that land now,
Some
you know?
really dog out and them shit there.
Jumping on the trees and shit.
You know, so these like, and this is what we have to do. And this is what we do, I should say. We teach what's in the scriptures. Not everything that's in the scriptures is actually permissible.
Or expedient.
Or expedient. Like the scripture says that more than one wife. But actually expedient today. For me, I know what I don't earn enough. And when you read our foreparents that actually had more than one wife, they weren't like me.
Substance.
They're the means
That's
to
substance.
They weren't working to live and living to work. No, they had means, like you said.
And I mean, like even in Africa, they reverence having cattle and land and
And these are commodities, man.
yeah.
That's actually how you can get away from exchange.
Right.
But you know, that's why we have to use wisdom in everything.
You know, so like I said, the lesson today was based upon that. Like, no GMS, they normally get the stick.
Yeah.
And I know why they get the stick.
Because they're just brutally honest. That
No, that's not why. Polite went to the apostles.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest, for me, the apostles never really went out good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
When you look at GMS and the north side, that elder there, when he brings it out, he not just goes into scriptures, he shows it out in ancient times, all of these things. You see, this is how, because we have to remember, when we read the Bible, sometimes we try and put the modern day mindset on ancient issues, how things were back then. And it weren't the same back then. Like, my little research, like the flower of age, you read about that in the New Testament. Yeah? Let me get that. 1 Corinthians 7:36. Yeah? Read about 1 Corinthians 7:36.
You know, that's a spirit too, because this is being talked about a lot right now in Israel.
Yeah.
Especially online as well.
Romans 13.
This is a book
Go
of
over it again, man.
1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 36.
Yeah.
But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely towards a virgin,
Now, virgin just means a woman of married age. It's like a meaning she's past her age of flower, or she's at, not past, she's at her age of flower. Yeah? Now, when you look at that online, it tells you that the age of flower begins from like 12 to 13. Yeah? And that's also known as a menarche stage. You got belarche, which is when a young girl just starts to grow breasts and them things there. Yeah, then you got the menarche stage when she starts to have a menstrual. Like back in the day, I think I was about 16. There's a news article where this 9-year-old in Africa had a child. So personally, you know, you should be having a child with a 9-year-old because she's not immature mentally. But she's of that age. You know what I'm saying? But wisdom will tell you, well, this girl ain't really mentally ready to be childbearing and everything. You know what I'm saying? But it's like today, what do we call it? Puberty. The flower of age is puberty. Today, a young girl can get married at the age of 16 legally. No. She can get married at the age of 18 legally, but she can get married at 16 with parental consent. You know what I'm saying? So does that mean just because she's 16 and she get married with her parents' consent, you're gonna marry her off? You know what I'm saying? So there's wisdom which you have to use, but what we're doing is teaching what the scriptures teach and how things were in ancient times.
And how they're going to be again in the kingdom.
But Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing as well, like when you're dealing with this truth, man, you can't have your feelings involved and your emotions involved in it. It's like you're saying, we've got something, you know, comparative study, man. These things are written aforetime for our learning.
Yeah.
So we know, what did our forefathers do?
And you have to know how to understand these things so that you, like the elders said, so that you can rule over them. Now, any wise father ain't gonna make his 12-year-old unless it's like I said.
It's been organized beforehand.
And so when your son gets older, my daughter gets older, that's the only way I can see that. But to say, oh well, my 12-year-old, I'm gonna make a deal with some 35, 40-year-old, like any wise father ain't, you know what I'm saying? So he's gonna be playing behind it, but the age of flower, that's when a sister becomes starts to menstruate, the age of puberty as we call it today. Back then, that's when they deem a sister of marriageable age.
Yeah.
But that don't mean that they'll be marrying off their daughters at the age of 13.
What they used to do a lot of the time as well back then is that they'd engage them with, like I said, so that's called an engagement period.
Yes.
Okay, we both agreed. Yeah, we both agreed on this happened at this time. Okay, now that might have been around the age of 7, 9, they've been engaged. Now when they reach like 14, 15, now they're able to consummate that marriage and actually be, become one.
Yeah.
I say, but that was in the time. I'm not saying that the Most High changes, but like you said, these things are not expedient right now. You're not gonna. And first of all, both parties have to be in the faith. First of all, you're not gonna.
The fathers have to agree.
That's right.
Not that the boy is 14 and the girl's 12. Say, well, no, the fathers have to agree that because at the end of the day, they're responsible for their daughters just like how they're responsible for their wife. And when you read Deuteronomy 22, 28, if it speaks about a man finding a woman that's not betrothed, lay hold of her. Now this is actually in agreement. It says lay hold of her, but he never went to the father. So there's an order in which you have to do things. So then he has to pay the father dowry. We read in Exodus 22. If the father is in agreement with that, you still have to pay him a dowry, but you're not getting the wife. You know what I'm saying?
Deal, man.
Yeah. So it's just using wisdom, man. But the scriptures teach what they teach. Because you have to remember, these are written in a time that's different to our times today. Where certain things used to be quote unquote the norm then or the understanding of that time, change the understanding of today. And
How many people goes to the father now?
what today, what you want to tell the sister, well, you know what, there's many more fish in the sea. You think back then, the sisters, they may tell, well, don't worry, sis, there's many more fish in the sea. They're not in there sleeping around too like it is today. So even that in itself should let you know that, well, they're not just going to be married off their daughter to some flipping pedophile or some man that's,
we see it on a... You see it on a level to where, some cultures do still kind of carry that, you got your Asian cultures,
they do, yes.
You got the Muslim cultures.
Their arranged marriage.
They have their arranged marriage, which is not out of order, but there's still a way to there must be done. But we don't know the ins and outs of how they do it, but we know they're taking from what we used to do.
But that's just Asian. It's not just us that used to do it. The other nations had that. Yes, shalom. But when we're looking at the thing, Rome had a similar sort of thing, you know what I'm saying? So it's not just us, that's just ancient times. We're not in those ancient times. So today, what do you do today? Romans 13 and 1.
The book of Romans chapter 13, verse 1.
You know you think in the Bible, ladies? What talk to us then? What even more reasons to talk to us?
Wicked pastor. Pastor with a head all green. It's the book of Romans chapter 13 verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers.
So what was the curses? You'd have to go to your enemies for everything. So in the land of our enemies, we have to abide by their laws. Within reason. When I say within reason, like we have a law that says 2 men or 2 women can't lay down. So even though they condone these things, we're not going to agree with it, but we're not going to take part in them things there. Yeah, shalom. What happened to you, shalom, man?
Shalom.
What happened to you?
I'm coming, 100%, don't worry.
Well, we're not going to be in the Sabbath. Not this Sabbath, not tomorrow.
Next Saturday, I might be ready.
Well, we're here after. No, yeah, we're tomorrow. Yeah? Then you can check out the brother with the Hebrew then. Yeah? Yeah. I am the brother with the Hebrew. Well, so is he. He's the brother with the paleo. Without the vowels. Okay, cool. We're dealing with the vowels, man.
Yiddish.
Yeah. God told him to come Sabbath. Last week he was meant to come because he was talking about the name. He said, I'm not so proficient in the Hebrew. I said, well, he's got a brother whiz. But, no, he reads the Hebrew, but he's like, yeah, I'm saying, well, there was no vowels. And he's trying to say, yeah, but there's vowels now. So, yeah, so, but they were speaking without the vowels. So what was the name without the vowel?
He's going on
Probably, you know. But yeah, what did I say?
Yeah, we was at the Romans 30 verse 1. Come on, you remember my sister. Romans 30 and 1, that every soul being subject unto the higher power.
Yeah, so you have to abide by the laws of the land. Yeah, certain things that was permissible back then, it's not permissible now because of who we're under. And if we're autonomous, that don't mean we're going to be letting you sleep with a 12-year-old or a 30-year-old. We just know that, like today, the age of consent for sexual intercourse is 16. But does that mean we're telling some 40-year-old man to go and sleep with a 16-year-old? Exactly. No wisdom, man, but people get caught up in their feelings. And like I said, me personally, when I watched that video with, I think he probably caught them, like, it wasn't expected, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so...
They, like you said, they probably never expound on it as well as they could in that moment.
Exactly, because obviously they told their elders.
And then what people tend to do as well, they get butthurt by certain words. Like they always obviously understand what that word meant in its entirety. So if you said it to someone out here, they're going to say they kind of... So I suppose they definitely could have... But then now what, the shoes for the other end, because I think it was yesterday, the brother's in court for what?
Put it. Yeah, from last year. So you're there trying to amp up the apostles who's just teaching what the scriptures teach.
And they clarified that we're not saying to do this or we do this, but we're reading what the scriptures say.
But then you would have done it.
Wicked.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how the Heavenly Father works.
And that's right, because you know where his mind was, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mine was after the young girls. Because even though the scripture says this is the age of marriageable age, it doesn't say that you have to be, as a big man, laid down with some 12-year-old or giving your daughter off to marriage, even of someone of her own age. Just lets you know when it is permissible. You know what I'm saying?
Did he have 2 wives?
He had 3.
He had more than 3 now. Apparently, anyway. I think every woman that we kind of see him with now, he deems them as his wife. So it's all part of his business. It's so business. The word that you mean, just really to get to their doors. That's what it's coming.
Exactly. They say that.
And I'm not saying that out of being bearing false witness. That's we're seeing that.
Well, that's what happened, didn't it? That's what happened. So
he's been accused of.
Accused, alleged. Let's use that term, man. It's alleged that that's what's happened. So, but then he was on the apostles then hard. And like I said, me personally, I haven't seen that video. I don't think the apostles them actually dealt with it good. Maybe because they were just, it wasn't something they had prepared for. You know what I'm saying?
It's the question that he posed to them as well. Can we do?
Yeah.
They kind of asked it along that lines, you know, like, so Well, you know, brothers have done videos addressing the same.
But like I said, what James that elder, the way the brother explains it scripturally, he explains it very good. Yeah? And at no time has any of them ever condoned you going out and sleeping with some of the, you know, what we'll call underage thing. You know? What they are doing is telling you how the customs work. But the Bible is what? The records of a specific people. And at that time it was written. There were certain customs they did then that they didn't do now. Just like back then, they look at things that we do now. They think, wow, what's that people doing? You know what I'm saying?
It's like you always pose that question. If our ancestors could see us now, they'll be looking at us very strange.
Hey,
you know, women, I'm not saying that women having babies in their 60s, you know, getting married in their 50s, 60s, where, you know.
But if you're looking at if you look at it like little girls getting pregnant, that seems like going like back to my grandmother's age. When you look at how things were in general, they used to send them off to nunneries. You know what I'm saying? So they know that, you know, it's not expedient.
Who let us know that?
And the wealthy in England send them off to finishing school.
Yeah.
Yeah, those in society.
Yeah. So
Because they wasn't yet full. That's why it's called finishing school.
But then them flipping dodgy priest was finishing off some of them, boy.
and the nuns too, man, because, you know, we let them nuns get away with
That's
murder.
right,
Man.
that's right.
And the nuns that are in
They were
this,
just as wicked.
they're wicked, man. This is Romans chapter 13, verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher
That's
powers.
what we're saying, man. Wherever you are, you have to abide by the law. Now, if I went to a land where the age of consent was 14, 16 here. Even here, let's deal with it here. Like, my daughter was 18. I don't want no dude my age. So, if I had flipping like Asian times where I said, well, this is when you marry, who you married to. What do you think I would be thinking? That's just me, you know what I'm saying? So, you have to use wisdom, man.
Like, you can't go to Dubai and just, you know, start rolling one up in a big cell. What's the guard there? You got
Some big swords over there, man.
That's right. You get put to death for that thing over there, isn't it? Or some serious jail time.
What did the Most High say? He said, you know, when a enemy, when a man's ways,
The Lord, He makes even His enemies be at peace with Him.
that's all part and parcel.
Yeah, so read that.
This is Romans 13, verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers.
This is what we say, based upon that. Still, regardless of what the scriptures is teaching, you have to be subject to the higher powers, meaning the laws of the land.
It says, for there is no power but of the Most High.
But it's the Most High that set them up at the end of the day. You know? And you have to remember, you're here for punishment, for chastisement. So you have to suffer these things out. Yeah?
And that goes for brothers in the truth too, man. You know? When we have this devil, man, you know, trying to come up to camp and trying to, you know, rile you up, get you out of the spirit. You know, you got to remember all time, man, to use wisdom, man. Stay in the spirit at all costs. Because that's exactly what they want, you to get out of the spirit. And now what? You're in handcuffs, man. You're sitting in the sofa seven now. Now, there might be some brothers out there that don't mind sitting in the sofa seven
Yeah,
now.
you
But I've
get
done
the
it on
brothers.
many occasions, and it's not. It's a lot of wasted hours, man.
It's just, well, some brothers, that's their lot, innit?
Yeah,
You know, sis, sister, pastor, come talk to me now. Come talk to us, man. You see 3 brothers here, everyone got a Bible in their hand. And you walking back with green hair. Yeah, so it's just wisdom, man. But it's the Most High.
It says, for there is no power but of the Most High.
It's the Most High that put these people in place, man.
It says the powers that be ordained of the Most High.
Yeah, so Proverbs 4 and 7. My favorites. Proverbs 4 and 7. You know your history in the Bible? You know your history in the Bible? Let's go. Yeah, Proverbs 4 and 7.
The book of Proverbs chapter 4 verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing.
There's many wisdom in the scriptures, man. There's many wisdom. What must we do with that wisdom?
Therefore get wisdom, and with all they're getting, get understanding.
That's what it means, man. Esau has wisdom, but does he have any understanding of wisdom?
But really it's not true wisdom. It's not false wisdom.
The scripture says, rightly dividing the word of truth.
First bringing out the most high is control whether it be good or evil. This is the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 6. It says,
Know your histories in the Bible, ladies? Know your histories in the Bible? Come talk to us, man. Well, come talk. She tried it though. She ain't no Muslim.
with a man boyfriend.
Yeah, she ain't no Muslim.
Girl boyfriend. It says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city and Yahweh have not done it?
Because everything that happens, Mosai gives the go-ahead. So therefore, he's the one who we fall back onto. He's the one, like, when you read with Job, when Satan did what he did to Job, Mosai said, you see how you made me move on him without cause, roughly paraphrasing. You know, it was Satan who made these things happen to him, you know what I'm saying? But it was the Mosai that said to Satan, well, you have the go-ahead. Therefore, he took, for want of a better word, the responsibility for what happened to Job.
It's like when Satan wanted Peter. That's all the heavenly Father.
That's right. And it's all a test. And that's what Satan is there for, man, to test you. Are you going to use wisdom in a specific situation?
Alright, cool, Mom. Not yet. You think we'll believe me?
So we have to use wisdom when we're walking. What does the scripture say? Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of your time. Yeah, and strength of salvation. So like you have to use wisdom when you. Yahweh Shai said what? Be wise as a serpent. Yeah, use that wisdom and be harmless as a dove. Yo.
That's the spirit, that's just thinking about you guys.
I just bumped really hard.
You have your Bible in the backpack?
Huh?
You have your Bible in the backpack?
No, but boy.
You good though, yeah?
Yeah, I'm good. You got the start.
Hey, look,
Shalom. Galatians, what did you call for again? Galatians?
yeah, Galatians 5 and 16. Yeah, we have to use wisdom in the times that we're walking in, man. You know?
The book of Galatians chapter 5 verse 16. This I say then, walk in the Spirit.
Yeah,
and ye
so follow the law, statutes and commandments, man, and use wisdom when applying them. Like, certain things that we do now, when shit really starts to hit the fan, might not be wise to be doing them then. You know what I'm saying? Just use wisdom, man. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. Yeah? Walk in the Spirit, come on.
This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
And the lust of the flesh is going to make you, as a big man say, well, the scripture says when she reaches a flower, you know, but come on, man, like, why are you doing this little girl? You know what I'm saying? That's you walking
Was
in
she,
the
was
flesh.
she, you got a child that teach her children?
Yeah, and like, she's a child herself, still learning.
That's the point.
You know what I'm saying? You know, so wisdom is the principal thing, man. Get wisdom.
She go cook. She go.
Ellie.
There's so many things that go with it.
It's not expedient.
As they called it in those days, it's like matchmaking, isn't it?
Yeah.
So both families.
Yes, they did a matchmake.
matchmake
Yeah, your
so
daughter,
that
my son, when they get
good
older.
match.
Yeah,
And they always made sure that there was a righteous family that was going to do it. Right?
Yeah.
They made sure there was something that could be, how can I say it? Like, it wouldn't just be any, okay, my son, knowing, okay, this family is a family that can be trusted, or this family is a noble family.
Yeah, the name.
Exactly.
Reputation.
yeah.
You had suitors to where you might have 5 different men asking to have the hand of your daughter, with different sons. And that's how it's going to be in the kingdom.
When it comes to us, we'll be all righteous, man. But we have to teach these things to these other nations. They're going to have to learn this. And you need, like the elder said, you need to know, have an understanding of this so that you can judge over these things. You can't judge over something you don't know or understand. It's not some 40-year-old coming up to your 30-year-old daughter. Well, the Lord does say she's at the age of a flower. What the hell you as a big man?
Yeah.
What would you know what I'm saying? It's wisdom, man.
It's like the context
Yeah.
of the times that you're reading about. If you just, like you said, in modern times, where people don't ask fathers, they don't ask the family, they just do what they want.
Yeah. Look, the age of consent for sexual intercourse today is 16. So, like, say, 100 years from now, it's 20 or 25.
This place for another 100 years.
No, I'm just saying. It's 20 or 25, and then man's looking back and saying, the age of consent back then was 16. So what? That's just what it was back then. You have to go by what the law states then. You know what I'm saying? You're just enlightening someone on how things used to be. You're not saying this is what it is now and it's expedient to do that now. You know? But that's what it was then. You know, so the age when a woman was deemed of marriageable age is when she came for her flowers. You know? Does that mean that you're going to marry off your daughter at them ages?
And here's the thing as well, understanding that, like we said in it, it's not a sin, but you got to think about all the things that's going to come with it.
Expedient.
Now you're going to be able to live a happy marriage with that. So what? 30, 40, no, you're not. Because now you're going everywhere you go, you're going to be looked at. That's that beautiful. Now you know what I'm saying. So now there's too much things that show it's out of order right now because Esau's made everything so out of order that everything that's righteous in the Azia, they made to look.
But it's just understanding. Like, that's when she's able to bear children because she's at the age of like I said, when I was 16 in the newspaper, this 9-year-old got pregnant, like by a 20-year-old. Now, yes, she's off that quote-unquote marriage age because of a flower, but was that expedient all right?
And then when you have more in this day and age as well, because of the foods that these children are eating, the foods their parents ate before, now what? There's all sorts of hormones and shit in these foods. And these are things that actually make women come into that stage early, which is not a natural process, which is an unnatural process. So you might, like you said, you might have someone coming to I think 7, 8 now. These are things I'm hearing now, which is not a natural process. But you say, oh, she's on the flower, so
a 6-year-old is menstruating. Oh, she's off a flower.
But her body's not able to actually pass a baby here, you know. It's not just
He is the Lord.
Wisdom, man.
That
the
he
wisdom of this place,
me.
they're trying to put a woman in a man's belly now, so
That's
it's
right.
the wisdom of this place.
That's right.
He is the Lord, my healer. He sent his word and healed my disease.
We have to know what's
I'm a living walking testimony, Richard. I'm here in Jesus' name. One who paralyzed and could not walk. Money is so very powerful.
Yeah, anyway. You need
It's my birthday. So I'm going to not give it away. I got no money. It's my birthday. So I need my birthday cake. No money. My birthday today. Hallelujah. Oh, Jesus.
I must make a big cake with the cake store.
I am free. I am the walking testimony. I am here in Jesus' name.
Get Ephesians 4:11.
I didn't know that you got stuff on Friday. What happened?
Yeah, we come out every
Yes, I know.
after as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I normally stay at home on Friday.
Why you never send your boss here, bro?
I wanted to know. Well, he doesn't want to come. I tried to trick him, but he was so small.
I know he's been keeping the eyes.
Okay?
I know he's been keeping the eyes.
Oh yeah, what can I say? Trying to not get any more attention in it. I was like, okay, alright. How are you guys?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Many people coming in?
People don't like the way the Lord.
No one
So these are
Bless the Lord.
As long as Shaitan is there, they will never follow the Yeah, thanks everyone. See you guys.
So look at Ephesians chapter 4 verse 11. And he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers. Verse 12. Verse 12, for the perfecting of the saints.
Yeah, so this is why, the scripture in Jeremiah 3:15 says that I'm going to raise up pastors after my own heart. Why? For the perfecting of the saints. We come out and try and teach our people, thus saith the Lord. And to feed you with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding so that you can guide yourself through the times that we're in. That's why it boils down to that.
Book of Ephesians chapter 4 verse 12, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ.
That's who we're here to edify. The saints, the body of Yahweh. Everybody will really receive this anyway, is what it is.
It is Philippians chapter 4 verse 6. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your request be known unto the Most High. And the peace of the Most High passes all understanding.
Yes, and that's what we want, man. Yeah, the peace of the Most High will pass all understanding. Because we're trying to teach our people how to properly dissect the scriptures. Believe in the Bible?
Shut up. Fuck with you guys. We were following IUIC, but we stopped following them. We just watched on the internet. Okay, so disrespectful. I'm not here to disrespect. I wouldn't disrespect you.
We'll give you a link. Channel.
Do you have a school?
Not a school. We have a YouTube channel.
So one of the elders going into a room with a younger lady that he's married to. They told me to study at home.
You've been touching on that this afternoon.
Well, they asked me to study at home, and so that all of us are studying at home. And they told us to come back when we don't want to. But we know that, end of days, we know it's coming. We know that we have to unify. Yeah, they weren't very nice to my daughter. They were nice to me and my son, but my daughter, like the women weren't very nice to her.
Well, this is now on each other, our main channel. On the main channel, because what we were talking about today, which might be a bit hard for some of you to see, was the flower of age. The flower of age is really when the sister married to the Now, just because you're married to the age doesn't mean that you're going to marry off the door.
Yeah.
So, according to the scriptures, when you go online and type in the flower of age, let you know it's it was the father that used to determine when you're going to marry off his daughter. That's what we're talking about. It's like some people get caught up with the fact that you may say that's when the scripture says a woman is of marriage at the age. But does that mean it's permissible? Like, I'm not going to marry off my girlfriend just because she's now in the work society. But in ancient times, a lot of people, that's what was being that was married at the age of 4. So what they'll do, me and this brother might come together and say, well, when your son reaches such and such, my something will allow them to be married. So that's what we're trying to do, is the understanding. It speaks about you have to abide by the rules of the land. So even if it is what the scripture teaches that it is permissible, not that it tells you that this is what they actually did. You know, said at that age she was deep. When you get First Corinthians,
there is a scripture that says that when they get to a certain age, because to stop their urges to have sex.
I'm going to bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians 7, we brought it out earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, we brought it out earlier. But everything has to do with understanding. And a lot of people get caught up by a brother teaching, well, the scripture teaches that when a woman is 12 or 13, when she starts her menstruation, she's of marriageable age. But does that mean you're going to marry her off at that age?
You know, I just realised yesterday when we were shouting at me, Mum, turn it off, because I was watching GMS. And she said,
oh, you see?
She said, turn it off. And I just said, switch on to one.
No. I think, but what it is, they do get the stick for that. But there's a brother when you hear how he brings out, we'll go to the scriptures and bring up history as well. He actually breaks it down properly. Now, I think some may not bring it out in a manner which is but when you go to the scriptures, these things are scriptures. So like you just bring it out, read that, 1 Corinthians 7 and 36. Because everything really is how you bring something out, how you can be understanding of what's written. Some people can bring it out better than others. And this elder, when you listen to how, there's a lesson he did recently, I think it was yesterday, in 2022, we should not be discussing marriageable age in the Hebrew custom. And that's what you have to realize, was how the custom was. Because when we read the Bible, it wasn't written in a time where it's 2022. Back in them days, there's certain things were permissible or expedient. Maybe not expedient, it was what was lawful. Maybe they might have said it was expedient. So even though that marriageable age is when she reaches her flowers, that don't mean that the father, because he was the one that then decide what to do with them. Because there's certain things. This, the person I'm taking my daughter has to be able to maintain it. And at the same time, just because she's of marriage age does not mean I'm going to marry my 12-year-old to some 40-year-old. It's wisdom, but this is what the scriptures teach. And some people find it hard to understand. Like today, as we're saying, the age of consent is 16. Now, just because the age of consent is 16 does not mean you're going to marry a 2-year-old, sleep with a 6-year-old, because that is the age. Yeah? So read that.
It's the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 36. But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely towards his virgin,
Towards his virgin, so this is someone that's his virgin.
if she pass the flower of her age,
Past the flower of her age. Now, the flower of her age meaning she's of that menstrual state.
and need so requireth, let him do what he will. He sinneth not. Let them marry.
Let them marry. So, that's in the New Testament. Is that the one you're speaking about?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Okay. Yeah, so even if you go on YouTube yourself and type in what is the flower of age, that scripture will come up. One of the lesson of it today. And you just have to understand ancient times. Because everything that you read about in the scriptures that it's medium to be done today.
What do you think about the marriage thing?
you're going on.
So, you know, some the Bible says one man, one woman, some groups, one man, then you
Well,
women.
when you read the scriptures, when you read the scriptures, a man is allowed to have more than one wife. But as we said today, it's not expedient.
The Bible says one man, one woman.
That's a New Testament. Because it's not expedient. Like for instance, now if you look at all our foreparents that had more than no, not just Abraham, Isaac, the tribes come from more than one wife.
And I mean, did Moses that say, I'm sorry, I don't want to but it just did Moses say that things were allowed in the past, but that's not how the Most High wanted it. He did say at the beginning.
No, that was divorce. That was divorce he was talking about. Yeah? But when you read the scriptures, like none of our foreparents that had more than one wife were poor. And you have to be able to treat them equally. The law also states if you marry a woman and you take a second wife and you don't really like the first one as much as you do the second one, the son or the child of the first ones, you can't bypass inheritance and give to the second one. You have to. So, like, we teach that biblically it's permissible, but it's not expedient. And also, one second, the law of the land doesn't permit it. It doesn't.
That's why I get confused. And that's what made me be a bit wary about what I'm trying to watch, because I thought that the Bible did say one man.
But it does as well. It says let a bishop.
And Christ said it too.
So what Christ was speaking about is they were asked them about, I think it's Matthew 19. It was about divorce. Yeah, Matthew 19, verse 3. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? So this is what Moses said, Christ said, because of the heart. Yeah, because of the hardness of your heart, why Moses put the law for you to be able to every little thing. And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? That's in that Genesis 2. And said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore there are no more twain but one flesh. Answers. What therefore the Most High joined together, let no man put asunder. They said unto him, why did Moses then command to give the writing of divorce and to put away and to put her away? He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And he says, and I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except he be from fornication, and shall marry another. So that was the main reason when you were forbidden to go away and eventually, that didn't happen. More than that, it would be adultery. And good to know you'd have been to death anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, so unto you, whoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, which shall marry another, committed adultery. Yeah? And you say the marriage which is put away is adultery. So, and even when you look at how things are today, a lot of us have broken that. Meaning, me as a man, I'm sure I've had a sister who has been with someone else before she ever came to me. Yeah? So this is where the grace comes in, and it's just understanding. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, we never be good.
Yeah, that's what I worry about. My daughter married age, and I really think it's important to marry someone who thinks it's okay to be married to them and to have they go inside of them. That's just what men do, isn't it?
But the scriptures also speaks about
that's what I should do. I was trying to find it. You know what I mean? And Chinese Street told me that I should be teaching my daughter to be, trying to teach my son to say. That's right.
But then, what do they say about the bit?
Unfortunately, that's not what father thinks, but it's the same thing.
No, but...
Do you guys have younger boys that like your children that follow them?
My children, unfortunately, I'm not. That's not because I'm not.
There's been battles, I understand. So my daughter, has friends that are not. They wonder why she is trying to pull her out in an argument, and we sort it out because at the end of the day, she knows the most money in the world. She knows, and she can see all the sides of the she can see everything that's going on. But even up to yesterday, we were battling about it. But we talk it through because we know that we've got to go through all this because it's a trial.
This is Titus 2 and 6. It says, young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded, so you have to be clear-minded. And sober is also not made up of doctrine. Stick to thus said the Lord. In all things show thyself a pattern of good works. So when you read Romans 7 and 12, it tells you that the law is holy, commandments holy, just and good. So good works is the law, statutes, and commandments. It says, in all things show thyself a pattern of good works, in doctrine showing uncorruptness, gravity and sincerity. And that's a good point. In doctrine, because like I said, the scripture does teach that you can in the scriptures, but then at the same time, when the knowledge and understanding come in, is it permissible for man to do that? And does we read in Romans 31, and can you get that out? Yeah, Romans 31. Does the law of the land permit it? Yeah? Yeah, 1 second.
Just before I bring this up, what I want to say to the sister is that you have to remember that we're in captivity still.
Yeah.
So that's why the brother explained to you that even though it's permissible in the scriptures, it's not expedient right now for a man to have more than one.
Yeah, because I always thought that it's once you get to the kingdom, there's seven women to one man. I understood.
Not 7 is just a number.
I understood that.
That could be one. Just saying.
Yeah. That 7, when you read that, because you're speaking about Isaiah 41, like it says, 7 women shall take hold of the skirt tails of one man. That's before the kingdom. What's happening now? Judgment is reigning, and these sisters, listen, I just want you to teach me how to get right. But that 7 could be 1, could be 7, could be 20, could be 3,
Cherry bit.
It's not that. They're actually looking for this man to play with them. They just want to be taught.
Just to be taught.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you ever see a movie where when it's the troubles come, a woman's trying to find any man they can to grab onto? That's what I'm saying.
That's what it means.
Seven represents completion. So that represents doesn't necessarily mean seven.
People at my school, they always say that they always have gay. Yeah, they always have gay. And they always lie. And I said, people are saying they just keep doing stuff.
When they ask you that, say it's against the law and it's against our custom.
Can I just explain the reason why he's hesitating? I work for Sainsbury's and I'm currently suspended because I wanted to work with the calling ladies, two ladies, getting a hundred of them downstairs. And I've been suspended because they said that I've used the wrong pronoun and I voiced my religious opinions upon them. Which my religious opinions was don't steal, follow the commandments, because she told me to further Israelite. And she said, don't believe that. I'm saying I'm saying what I see. But yeah, I've been suspended for 2 months now, and I'm actually gonna get fired. I'm going through ACAS at the moment. But he's protected.
But then that goes back to when the scriptures are this is also part of the condition of the battle. That's your Hey, it's funny though. This is where the Most High is testing you now. Are you going to stand up to I say being put in this situation, or are you going to buck them through? You know, so
I've just gone as far as I'm concerned because I'm not going to.
and who actually made it?
My own friend Israelite.
No, the Most High made
The Most High, yeah, that's true.
So it says he makes rich and he makes poor. He is the top of the country. So it was his will for you to lose that job.
I wanted to go for a long time to make people
So
I'm going to say to the principal, next time someone says that to you, young man, what you should say to them is, do you even know what that word means? It's good to try and learn the understanding of words. And that word gay actually means happy. Now, they probably don't know that.
Just like they stole the rainbow.
yes,
When you go into the etymology, the word etymology means the
word.
That word gay means to be happy. Obviously, everything is upside down, so they changed the meaning of that word now. And what you should do is ask them if they know the meaning of the word. If they don't, you can explain to them what the word means. If you say, well, if you mean am I happy, then yeah, I'm happy about it. But stand in your ground, Prince. Because you're a shining light.
Thank you. But this is what I miss. I know that he, I'm not with his dad, he needs male leadership. He needs a man to teach him. So do sit down and learn. When's your Sabbath?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So, okay, so.
We're here every
So where will you be tomorrow?
Tomorrow we'll be some sisters.
Was that HOI?
It's probably the first time all years before.
Well, normally I'm at home on that prep day. It's only because these guys have been out. I was driving past and actually one of the guys saw you. So we parked up there when we came back.
Okay.
It's back, I don't want you to talk behind my fringe.
We're not like that. It does say that, but at the end of the day, understanding the fact that you're actually trying, but everything is, some will get Proverbs 4 and 18.
Ask a question.
1 second, everybody brings up Proverbs 4 and 18.
This is the book of Proverbs chapter 4 verse 18. But the path of the just is as the shining light, that shineth more and more unto the perfect day.
Everything is a process. Not everything is going to happen overnight. At the end of the day, there's brothers and fringes that's wicked as hell. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of truth of it. So the Most High knows that you're going to have fringes on, but what's the sister's heart like? Is she really trying to serve me? But what the fringes, what is the purpose? You know it says throughout your generation. What is the actual purpose of the fringes? You know?
This is what we spoke about. So my daughter says that obviously we know we're supposed to make sure that we remind ourselves to circulate garments, and obviously we know that we're doing it. But it does say to the generation.
It does say to of keeping the law. Yeah, the Bible says when you read Surah 19 and 24, it says, "Better man with small understanding and fear God than one with much wisdom and transgress the law of the Most High." You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just keep trying to serve the Most High as best you can. In time will come if that's what it's meant to be. You know what I'm saying? Don't make no one pressure into doing that. You will know when you're so. You know, I was just fortunate that when I came to I just got a few garments like to come in today. But it's just me.
I just
Then I got brothers that ain't going to do it every day. Does that mean that I'm any better than them? Or they're keeping the law and they're less than me? You know what I'm saying?
Because what I worry about is if we're not wearing that fringes, doesn't mean that we'll be less in the winter.
Excuse me. So you meet here? No, I've got to go. I just wanted to know if you got...
Like the present. It's just understanding. It's brothers understand.
Can I give this from the leaf?
Yeah. It's what it is. Just brothers understanding of the scripture. Like me doing Friday to set the sun down, something to do that.
So this is the leaf on YouTube, okay?
That he was incredible son. Because at the end of every one of our Sabbath, we always read out Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Conclusion of the matter. Not who's got the deep breakdown. That's what it is. Faith and the keeping of the law. Close. Where's your beard? But when you can, grow what you can. Mine don't grow full like this, brother, full like his. So I keep mine low on the sides. Depends how it grows. Like my son's 21, he's got a better beard than me. Trust me, the way he's grown.
That's the spirit, man. How old are you, young man? You got a young, 8-year-old prince.
Yeah.
That's, you know, like reasoning on how he's going to have his beard. It's great to one of our people to keep the beard on their face.
Yeah.
It's like you're asking them to turn the moon upside down. That's the spirit.
Yeah. So just keep learning the laws, apply them to the best of God.
So can I ask you to explain to me about the moon? How you decide the moon? Because, for instance, like I got a message, a happy new moon message a couple of days ago from my sister in IUIC, and I didn't respond to her because I'm thinking I'm getting confused. And like I heard when I did the Nays, I don't know if you watch it.
Yeah, I have seen it when they did.
He goes off as a go, and I'm thinking, I need to understand why people use the dark moon so right, because I'm waiting for like Genesis is about the crime.
Me personally, I think it's just understanding of scripture.
Sorry to answer, but it's good to again, sorry to interrupt you, sir. It's just that, you know, again, it's lovely that I can talk to you because when we were at the group, sometimes we wanted to speak and ask questions, and sometimes it made you feel like you were silly asking a question. If you don't ask, then how do you understand? Sorry, sir.
One time I was at the church and then I was wanted to ask.
Hello. Shalom. How are you?
Shalom, shalom.
How are you guys?
Yeah, they've been around, aren't you?
What time I was
Tell the most of
He's playing with us.
we just mentioned IUIC and the guest was IUIC. Okay, good.
And I was asking the question.
And sometimes, some people get.
I always heard, but I never go.
Brothers, some when you get the big camps. Me personally, like I said to brothers earlier on, like when it was 3 of us or 4 of us, I was quite okay. There's 6 of us now, you know, but sometimes when you get too big, if you're not mindful, you know,
Let me see.
So we're at 43 and read from verse 6. Because I was watching their lesson on the full moon as the new moon. And this was one of the precepts they brought out, but you have to really read this precept. Very
43 to 46.
43 verse 6 to 8.
Sorry.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 43, verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. Verse 7. From the moon is a sign of feast.
It says from the moon is a sign of feast. Now, the way we keep our feast days, starting from like the present, the dark moon, as the beginning of the month. When our feast days, like you get our Passover, even our flipping Pentecost the other day, that was a feast. Feast of Tabernacles, which is like the 7th month. These always come on a full moon for us. So it says from the moon is a sign of feast. Now, you can say, how are you going to know it's the feast day if the moon is dark? You know? So the full moon, God says from the moon is a sign of feast. So our feast days normally are on the full moon. But there's some that's not going to bring out.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 43, verse 7. From the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection.
A light that decreases. So if your feast day is from a moon with a light that decreases, but if it decrease, it was full. Because you got the wane when it's present, signs of full, and then you got the waxing. No, you got the waxing, which is when it's present, and it's then the full, and then the waning is when it's starting to decrease. So read that verse again.
Yes, he is wheezy.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 43, verse 7. From the moon is the sign of feast.
From the moon is a sign of peace. So our feast days, our Passover, the Pentecost that we observed the other day, the Feast of Tabernacles, which is the 15th of the 17th, that should be around the full moon. So from the moon is a sign of feast, God.
A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
Decreaseth in her perfection, God.
Verse 8. The month is called after her name.
Because that's what moon means most.
Increasing wonderfully in her changing. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing. Increasing wonderfully in her changing.
I humble myself. I just turn on happy, do what I'm doing. I was a sinner. Then he said, I'm a sinner. You're going to say you've done nothing wrong.
Read 6 again.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 43, verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. Verse 7. From the moon is the sign of the feast. A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
Decrease. Dark moon don't decrease. They don't have tomorrow. But like I said, I'm just exercising video. And it's very convincing. I don't know when it was that then made me. Yeah, but when you read this, because they put this up, when you listen to this, it says,
He made, verse 7, from the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection.
We say you should know them by their fruits.
When the moon is full,
it's an apple tree, you know it's an apple. A mango tree, you know it's a mango tree.
So
what is a born again mean? You should know them by their fruits.
Light that
And they should have
In her perfection.
God's spirit.
The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing. Increasing wonderfully in her changing.
Thank you so much for doing this. We're gonna run it. We'll come see you guys again. And thank you very much. Yeah. And you know, I know that there's different camps, but at the end of the day, when we'll make it to the kingdom, we'll be put together. So that's the most important thing. Thank you so much. Shalom. Have a happy Sabbath. Shalom. Happy Sabbath. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Israel, man, that's what we're here for, to try and edify our people and give them the sense. But the Most High is out in the heavens, so that's our cue. With that, we're going to give all glory and all praises to Yahweh. That's right. That's right.
Shalom.
That's right.
I'm a waffler, I'm a wamia.
Yeah, we out.